Hi, I'm Paul Green, and this is Martial Logic. This episode, we're going to be covering verbal de-escalations. I'm trying to get as many of these done quick because I'm afraid I may be getting sick and losing my voice. So I may have to, have more pauses in here than what I normally have. What I'm going to be doing with this episode, there was an original print version of the basics of verbal de-escalation, and that was, I mean, it's one of the more popular articles that we ever had on the blog. But at the same time, to me personally, it was kind of bland. It was just basically just stating facts um, about how to do it. And it was real kind of clinical, and I really didn't feel like it really had enough of what I wanted. So what I intend to do with this one is use some more anecdotal type stuff from my own experience, kind of as a case study. And then towards the end, we'll use the original article for reference. And in the book itself, we will, it'll be a good bit different than the original commentary that appeared on the blog, as this will be, and it will be a little bit more than this as well. Um, some of the stuff will be cleaned up and everything, but anyway, verbal de-escalation is a very important piece of the puzzle, along with awareness and avoidance. It makes up the self-protection aspect. As we talked about before, self-protection is the stuff that you should have done before you had to use self-defense. It's the things that you could have done to avoid the conflict. And that's not to say that it works 100% of the time, because nothing does. Um, it's just as much a part of self-defense as, like I said, awareness and avoidance, the actual physical defense, understanding judicious use of force. You can contact your attorney general's office for that. And even down to self-defense weapons. They all have their place, but they're all a piece of the pie. But this is a very, very important piece, and unfortunately, um, well, depending upon how you look at it, because it was successful. But unfortunately, I've had a lot of experience with this, and it can be very, very stressful. Um, like I said, it, there's information out there, but it tends to be very generic and very bland. And it just, to me, a lot of times it's not communicated well. It's like something you would see on a slideshow for work or something. And I think actual case studies. Um, use, like I say, using my own situations and everything that I've actually been in, and some observations from that may be a little bit more helpful, in communicating to it. And video, is a good way for that as well. When we do the actual commentary, for the book and everything, it'll have some of those barcodes in it where you can scan it. It'll go to certain video things that fit along with it. The first one I want to talk to you about, because I've had to deal with verbal de-escalation, not only as a bouncer in the past, but as someone who wasn't even working in that position at the time. I've had to do it on a corporate environment, as well. Working in a warehouse. So I've seen it at a lot of different angles, as opposed to just the normal clinical thing, and the generic deal. The first one I want to talk about is the one that we talked about in the original article. And just to give you some background on that. And I can see the dog in the background. That's okay. We're not going to worry about that. He's fine. Um, but that's kind of distracting. All right. But anyway, uh, the original example took place on Halloween, about probably 4 or 5 years ago, I would guess. You younger people, you may not understand. As you get older, you remember something, and you think that it was like a year ago, and it may have been 7 or 8 years ago or something like that. And that happens with age, and so I tend to go through that a little bit myself. But it was on a Halloween, back when I used to bar hop and do all those things, which I don't do now. Thank God. One day I woke up and I was an adult, and bummer, but that happens too. Um, but was that one of my regular hangouts, and there was a buddy of mine, just to give you some background information on the incident. That we wasn't like like tight buddies or anything, but it's like one of those deals like where you're sitting at the bar and that person's always in there, so you always talk to them when they're in there, so you kind of feel like you know them. But I was talking to him and this other dude, come in there with his girlfriend. And some nights you feel more bulletproof than others, and we were sitting there drinking and everything, and and it was kind of dead where we were at, which honestly to me I kind of like because it's quiet. But they were all like, "Man, we need to go to this bar over here." I'm not gonna say the name of it because it's a douchey place. I hate it. But uh, they wanting to go over there. It's like they're having like a big Halloween thing. They got a live band, and it's gonna be really cool. And I didn't like the place. I'd been there like on a couple of dates prior, and to me it was kind of a real douchey hangout. I didn't like it, but it was dead at the bar we were at, so we all loaded up and drove up to it, and and I had a really good time. The guy we met some girls there, got on the dance floor, was kind of dancing, or well, if you can call it dancing, it was kind of just more like moving. I can't really dance, but it's okay. No one else there could either. So it was more like kind of like white people finding rhythm. It wasn't. Nobody there was like doing getting crunk or anything. But it went off fine. I was like, man, maybe this place ain't so bad. And we had decided, there was a hotel like in a parking lot that kind of connected, and we decided that, man, let's maybe go get a room there, man. We can keep partying, man. It'd be great, and all this stuff. All this shit we shouldn't have been doing, but at the same time, we'd all been drinking and shouldn't have been driving anyway, so maybe getting a hotel room wasn't such a bad idea. Was going to invite some folks back there, whatever, but at least we wasn't on the road driving, breaking the law. But so the place let out around 2 a.m. and we were standing there talking to some folks, and we'd all kind of went our ways, and we're talking to different people, just kind of standing around. How people kind of linger outside, when the place shuts down. It was kind of in a shopping center. And, and I see this dude, like I said, I didn't, know him before that night, and that should be a warning to you folks. Standing over here, like, talking to some guy, and apparently in the past they had had some type of an issue with one of their parents or something like that, but it had been squashed and everything was fine. This other person, this third party, comes up there and starts like, chicken pecking. What, man, you did it, da 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 da, and all this kind of stuff. Didn't even know nothing about it. And, the guy, tells him like, hey, man, you wasn't there, man. You don't know nothing about this, man. Why are you, coming over here and doing it? And the guy just kept on da 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 da, and everything else. So he just, boom, elbows and clocks him right there on the sidewalk, knocks the guy slap out. And there were about 20 people standing out there, saw it. And I remember, I heard it when it like clack, it hit, and like the guy just, goes back, and I look and I see somebody, he's laying like flat on the sidewalk, and somebody's lifted his head, and it's the whole, he's out, he's fucked up. And then, people start like, oh my God, da da da, and they turn on this guy. It's my ride. The guy's kind of a douche, but at the same time, how am I going to get home? And everything else. So I run over to the guy and I step in front of him and I start walking him back. And the technique that I used was something that I had learned from Taijutsu. Called Hira no Kamai, and is basically I just put my arms out, like that, and as he moved behind me, not looking at him, he's behind me, and I always have like an arm out where I can feel where he is, but that way Because if I'm looking at him and then somebody decides to jump us, I'll never see them. But I know there's no one behind us because I'm backing them up to to get to the cars or just an empty parking lot behind us. I'm trying to get him there, to get him the hell out. Um, and so I start backing up with my arms and everything, feeling him. And I can feel him, moving from this arm, behind me, moving to this other, and I have to keep moving my body from side to side, blocking him off. And people are running up, like saying stuff, but I got this arm, out like as I'm, and if he moves over to that side, obviously, over here, but talking to these people, and it's just basically like they're really upset. The thing that helped was that I personally didn't do anything wrong. It was him. Um, and so, they don't necessarily want to do anything to me because like I said, I didn't do anything. And all I'm doing, I'm not necessarily coming to his aid. That's, because, he's kind of a douche. But it's just, general stuff, talking to these people as they come up, not blowing them off, not trying to be like, no, man, you boy, he come up here and he was talking. No, none of that. That's not going to get it. One of the people that come up was the guy's wife, who was really emotional, and she was crying and everything else. But this guy was mouthing off and start talking smack. And at one point, I even looked back and was like, dude, you're not helping. Shut up. And trying to talk to all of these people and everything, which it wasn't all these people. And the bouncer had come up and said, hey, I've called the police. Well, at that point, then, I can't let him leave and everything because, they're going to get us all in trouble. It just, the main thing was talking to the people that are coming up. I'm not being abrasive. I'm not blowing them off. I'm just appealing to their sensibility because they're scared. We're scared. And just trying to bring everything down, bring some sense to a chaotic event when there's a lot of shit going on. Generally, the wording of what I was using was like, I know it's messed up. I understand, but look, there's already been enough violence. The last thing we need is more violence. It's not going to help anything. Just calm down. The bouncers call the police. The police are on the way. But let's just calm down. Let's not make this situation worse. The police are on the way. They're going to deal with him. Let's not make this worse. Let's calm down and let's remain good people. We were good people before this started. We can be good people, and and this and let the police come do what they're going to do. And you look at that, and it's not picking sides. It's not taking up for this person that just done this bad stuff here. It's just trying to appeal to someone's sensibility. Let them know, hey, look, it's gonna be all right. I don't want things to get more violent. You don't want things to get more violent. They don't have to be more violent. We don't have to do that. And that's a basic verbal de-escalation. You have a lot of crazy stuff going on. Like I said, they're scared. If when I had to shut this guy up behind me too, screwing everything up. But at the same time, if I'd say, for example, like yelled like back off or something like that, to his wife or something, that could come across as combative. And it can make it worse. It can come out threatening. And those are some things that you definitely don't want to do. It's bad enough, it was a really, really good night and the person behind me just ruined it. So you can't let that emotion come back into them because you halfway want to be in a situation like, what, let him beat his ass. This guy's a prick. But that wouldn't be right either. May feel better, but it's not really right. So, you talk to people, don't do it in a confrontational way. Especially when you're dealing with a crowd, back up slowly. Have some respect and try not to take a bad situation and make it worse, and appeal um, to them and not wanting to take a bad situation and make it worse. Especially knowing that the police are on the way to deal with this person. So we don't have to. We don't have to do this. Um, so that it is a first example, and those are some lessons that I think we can learn from that. I'm gonna kind of take a break because people tend to like these when they're cut up a little bit more, um, so they don't have to watch like a whole hour long damn thing. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this off, and then we'll pick up with part two.